So, have you ever had this happen to you, Jeff, where you place an order for some food, and then when you get to the restaurant, you realize that you did everything to place the order for the food, but actually hit the button that says you're ordering the food?
Wait, I didn't follow along with this. Where I
Ah,
was
this
on
is a
board with the
splendid
place.
intro to the show here.
Jeff is the mailman who doesn't yeet packages. Griffin is the impersonator of all ages. Jeff is the mailman whose picks make him frown. Griffin is the maestro who can't read the rundown. But together as one, they can be beaten by none. It's the walk like a mailman pivot show.
You had me at place order for food, and then about the details of the food. What happened with your order?
Okay, so have you ever been in the situation where you are like placing the order, you place the order online on the website, and then you put in like your gift card information, you do everything to buy the order except for actually hitting the submit button to buy the order.
What? Okay,
And then you realize when you got there that you didn't do that, and the food
that
wasn't there ready for you when you wanted
that
it.
was my follow up. Was how far along did you go until you realized
I
that
literally
you?
realized as I was like pulling up to the restaurant, so I ordered the food while I was sitting in my car.
So the order button was still like full color and not grayed out because you hadn't pushed the button yet.
Yeah, I didn't make the order apparently.
I have done that. I think once we do the same thing. We I don't eat at McDonald's often, but when we do, like when we
I don't always eat at McDonald's, but when I do, I have a Dos Equis.
Dos Equis,
They brought that guy back, by the way. Did you hear about that?
I have a breakfast beer while
He's back.
I think so because they realized that it was the best marketing that they
And the
had that
guy's
could
like
get rid of him.
100 years old as it is, and they brought him back out of retirement.
He's a century old. But I when I do order McDonald's, the reason why we do on Sundays every once in a while is because of the breakfast option, and the kids love the pancakes. The pancakes are their ultimate. I mean, Rachel makes a wonderful pancake, awesome pancake. But obviously they inject some kind of heroin into these pancakes, to where the kids absolutely love them. So every once in a while, for like a treat, like let's treat yourself.
We gotta get you guys a Blueberry Hill up there in Seattle, because like if the McDonald's pancakes are the good ones, then we have some major problems here. We need to
It's
fix
more
that.
of the fast convenience of it, and we order it. And then I have not been inside a fast food restaurant. Like, that's another question. Email us at walklikeamailman@gmail.com. When was the last time you actually went into a fast food establishment and ate the food in the lobby? Like, that doesn't happen anymore. I don't. Why are even fast food places? Why do they still have lobbies? So I
I've
order.
done that on vacations and stuff. I've done that.
I've well, we order it online, and I submit the order, and then I drive up there, and then when I drive up there, I open up the app, and it says, "Hey, what spot are you in?" Because they have like numbered stalls, and you park, and you say, "Hey, I'm in stall number 3," and then they come out and they deliver it to you, and so when I there has been times, or a time at least once, where I drove up and then I opened up the app, and then I realized I didn't click the order button. And what was supposed to be fast food is not so fast.
You know what I have found gobstoppingly annoying is that like sometimes I'll order like when I'm on vacation, I tend to what I like to do is I order a Chipotle, I'll walk to the restaurant and try to pick it up at a certain time. It would have been faster if I'd gotten in line and ordered the Chipotle at the restaurant than to actually have pre-ordered it like a half hour to 45 minutes in advance.
These are first
Seriously, I
world.
could have just walked in and gotten it faster. I
These
didn't
are
have to be
first world
waiting that long.
problems if I have ever heard any.
Well, what's
At
the
all.
point of it? If like you're ordering in advance for a specific time, you're trying to do them a favor by letting them know when you're going to be there to pick up your food, and it's like, what's the point?
Gobstopper. You said God stopping. Have
Yes,
you ever had gobstoppers? Wasn't that a candy? Do they still have gobstoppers?
I believe they still have the everlasting gobstoppers out there. I don't know.
Hey,
I'm not a candy person, but I just
Charlie
kind
and the
of.
Chocolate Factory episode pod
Well,
here.
Jeff, you get mad when we don't expand our vocabulary around here, and we're supposed to use. You can't use the same words and slogans all the time.
Why are you
Old.
throwing this on me? I
You
just
always
think
have to get locked in on something. You have to change something, even though it's like working fine as it is.
yes, that's what they always say. If it's working fine, do it for
Leave it the hell alone.
leave it the hell alone. And not to talking about beating something up as far as a dead horse and doing it two episodes in a row. I am on the Samsung TV Plus kick where the, it's my new fascination and obsession of finding out what movies are on this like free channel that comes with my TV. It's kind of like the free network that, or the free platform that comes with Samsung TV. And we talked about Manhunter was one of them. And you know what came on this morning was Zodiac. Zodiac was another.
Yeah, we just talked about this on the show that aired last week, Jeff. We really need to.
We didn't talk about Zodiac.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't. That was off. Our lives are blurring in between the lines here. We don't know what we talked about and what
I
we
could
didn't
have sworn
talk
that
about.
was on the show, but
It was not. We did not talk about Zodiac. We only talked about Manhunter, and then we talked about how Brian Cox is surprisingly on there. And
oh, f off.
thank you, Rusty G, on the pivot. So Rachel gets semi upset with me because I be watching these, and apparently the ones that I'm attracted to are content that is not safe for work or not safe to be consumed by a younger audience. So then when she turns on the television in the morning for to change it to Sesame Street, all of Manhunter and Zodiac, like.
Is there any other kind of content but the not safe for TV kind of content?
I don't know. I wouldn't be I wouldn't be the sourcing material to tell you otherwise. And so I was like, yeah, okay. And she turns it on to change it to Sesame Street. And then, of course, these movies are playing. You know what? Right before I hopped on the show, I checked what was going to play, what I was going to miss. Do you know what was on the Samsung TV option?
I do not know what was on the Samsung TV option.
It was Total Recall was the next thing in line.
Oh, I love that movie.
I'm gonna miss the beginning of Total Recall to record this this companion pod here.
That's okay. I'll see you at the party, Richter.
I'll see you at the poddy. Yes. So I have to be careful when I watch it, so then that way I could maybe change it to something more wholesome, like, as opposed to the serial killer cornucopia that I apparently watch after hours. That was kind of what I was doing before I jumped on here. But I have a little speaking of mini survey for you.
Okay.
Rate the worst of these, maybe like from worst to best. Someone that is always late, someone that cuts you off mid-sentence all the time in conversation, someone who spits while they're talking, or someone who lies or exaggerates on every single story. And you can tell that they're lying when they're speaking to you, and you know that this can't be happening in the same reality that we live in our world.
I would say probably the person who cuts you off all the time.
Okay.
I got used to you always being the late person, and I eventually started being a little late myself.
I knew when I wrote this, I was like, Griffin's gonna take a jab at me. But at least you gave a little bit of like a runway of like I've at least adjusted your life to where like not necessarily that you're okay with it, but that you face it so often that you're not as bothered by it.
Well, you just get used to it, and then you start getting late yourself, and it's not really a good habit to pick up.
Yeah, well, you expect me not at 12:30, but 12:35 to jump on.
I pivoted.
Someone that cuts you off, like I understand that where people, when they're so excited and they think that they're so as far as the world revolves around them, they want to be able to tell their stuff. I understand that. The exaggeration, I kind of feel like it reminds me of I had a roommate, and when I moved in to this one place and I had a roommate, he would tell me stories about this previous roommate that I took his place. So he moved out and he had an open room. So I came in and I was like, "Sure, yeah, no problem. Like I'll live with you. If the rent's not too bad and I don't have to live at home. Sounds like a good deal." So I moved in. What I didn't realize at the time is that this guy found a new place to live, but would not live at that place at any time. He was always still at the place that I rented space at. Like he just was living there, but he didn't have a bed. He just like essentially he was like the guy in Half Baked. The guy that slept on the couch. Like why is this guy still here? I'm am I taking his place or are we adding to this equation? But
Really, a separation anxiety.
He didn't want to leave because it was the spot, I guess, in Las Vegas. But he always exaggerated these stories. Like whenever he was always a one-upper. Oh, that's probably a better term of what these human beings are. They always feel like they gotta one up you, or these one up these stories. You can't just say that. That's amazing. That's a cool. Like I'm jealous, and you clearly have experienced a very wonderful series of events in life. They have to take yours, steal your thunder. Here's your thunder. I'm gonna take it, and then make something completely more wild and better off of what you were talking about. And like an example is I was talking about how I was playing a lot of basketball and I was getting like really good with I mean you knew me, like I get like obsessive about certain things. Like if I wanted to be better at basketball and win in certain competitions, I every single night for a couple of months I would go out there and I would put up 100 shots, put up 200 layups. It was just something that I worked not necessarily to perfection, but to as close to perfection as possible. And I was essentially just saying, like, I was getting to the level where I was close to like 50% on my 3-point shots. I was raining threes. I was splash waterfalls over here, and this guy was like came back at me and was like, "Oh well, right now I'm about 73% 3-point shots." I didn't even know this guy played basketball at all. Never talked about basketball in the whole entire history of living with this entity, and then all of a sudden he shoots 73% of 3-point shots. Which is like what? Like how do you even get to 70? Like if you're shooting 73% threes, why are you bumming this couch? Like you should be out there, like in some kind of reg league, just torching him. You should do a white man can't jump situation and come out and own a league or something. What? How is it you're 73%? And and I hadn't even known that you even knew how to dribble. Before this conversation, and it was that's what that guy reminds me of. But I do have to say the worst is, and I agree, is the person that cuts you off when you can't get like a full sentence out of your mouth, and then someone wants to interrupt you and then tell you their story. It's one of those where they're not listening to you, they're just waiting for their moment to talk. Like it's like
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you have anything else? Do you have a survey for me?
Survey says no.
No.
Dude, I am like I'm decided on my next test. So I'm already going to be taking my next test in like a month here. I have decided, so I am moving it up the timetable here because I want to keep the momentum going.
hmm I was just gonna say, is there a schedule that you can like apply for? Like, what's the timetable look like?
Well, it's gonna be probably Labor Day weekend, so like roughly a month from now. It would
Uh,
have been I want to try to do it earlier, but the schedule like didn't really pan out at the testing center.
So,
So let's bring up an old topic here that I had brought up in the pivot file folder here thing. There was an article I had read where United Airlines is getting rid of the middle seat and going to be
getting rid.
charging more so that you know that you don't have to sit next to somebody.
Isn't that a representation of our country, like getting rid of the middle class? Not to get political here, but that's what it reminds me. That's where it feels like we're
Yeah, because
going.
like the middle seat is like the bane of most people's existence on airline flights. Like when you go on a Southwest Airlines flight and you have to like get in line and pick your spot and then like literally have to, book, check in for the flight immediately 24 hours prior, just try to get into that B seating group. And then you end up in the C group and you're like, damn it, I'm going to be middle seat in the back of the plane. The worst possible place to be.
When this is like the two Jeffros, we have old Jeffro. He's very slim and very petite. I don't know why petite came. I'm
Yeah,
a waif.
petite is not you, but okay.
Not anymore. I'm a very, as far as
You have a dad bod.
lanky, but I'm dad bod now. See, you're leading me along here. That's a good lead in. Now I have the dad bod, and I have family, and we officially take 4 seats. As far as this conversation goes, as far as my care of a third seat, like, or the middle seat, has gone from no care in the world at all to no care in the world at all, just because we take 4 seats anyway. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, 3/4 of my family is taking a full row of the airline, as far as the row goes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where I sit. That's usually the case when we fly. Shout out to Rachel, love of my life, keeper of
Seats.
seats, keeper of the full row of seats. I usually end up being the free agent of the seats as far as that goes. They all sit in a row. Like, it's always, we usually try to put the young one at the window seat because she's the wild card, and we need to put as many bodies between her and and civilization as possible because she will create any kind of havoc and anarchy. So we try to at least like contain her with as many, like, and then we put the young one or the middle one or the older one. I'm going to say as many different type of demographic. She's the older daughter, but she's the middle one as far as age, because obviously if we're going in order, come along with me on this. We usually put her in the middle seat, and then Rachel sits on the aisle, and in a perfect world, I will sit across the aisle, like next to her. So
You don't
that's
sit
kind
in the
of.
seat in front of them either, or the seat behind them to
No,
kind
I
of watch.
usually try to take another plane,
Well, yeah,
another
of course.
flight.
Of
But
course. But I'd take another plane, Jeff. What would you do?
no, but you usually sit right across from her, right across the aisle from her. So then that way I can kind of, assist, and I keep another bag because we have, of course, like a diaper bag, but I also try to keep extra snacks, the iPad, everything in the secondary bag. So then that way, when I get like smacked awake, like, hey, I need the iPad, I'm like, okay, let me get it out of the bag. So is this eradication of a middle seat? So it's going to be 2x2? Is
It's
that?
going to be like on a specific section of the plane. And one of the things I found really interesting on it is it reduces the number of people on the plane just enough so that they can reduce an employee to be on the plane.
It does sound like, I don't want to say cost prohibitive. I think what's the opposite of cost? Like, it's more
Cost
costly.
efficient?
Well, I think that's what they're trying. I don't see that because how many people do they have to knock off the plane and then still
Well,
make
no,
money
Jeff. They knock a couple people off the plane, and for whatever regulations there are, it means they have to employ one less person to be on the plane.
I know, but what is the ratio as far as like knocking the people off the plane versus having another employee?
Well, they make
on
up
the
for
plane?
it by the cost of selling the seat, knowing that you have the extra leg room.
It
To
just
ooh, I can put my feet up and
it just
in the middle.
smells and it reeks of the odor of that the ticket is going to go up in price.
Well, yeah, they said it would go up in price because you're
Then
paying for a special service.
then I'm not on board, and I'm gonna make my own plane. Jeffro United.
Dude, airline margins are so tight and it's so difficult to make money in that industry that you don't want to ever invest in the airline industry because it's just such a disaster zone.
Here's food for thought. Is Virgin Airlines still a thing?
I thought Virgin and Alaska got bought out, or Alaska bought out Virgin.
They merged.
The
Yeah.
merger.
Like, didn't he start off with records? Like he was making albums and music, and then like all of a sudden, like he's into the airline business. Like, how did that switch come about? Like, it's like, oh well, of course, the first thing you think of when you're trying to sell Britney Spears CDs is airlines, like flying.
Hold on, I'm trying to Google this. I was remembering this guy's name, Branson, right?
Richard Branson.
Yes, Richard Branson, that lovely person.
Didn't he have ice cubes with his face on it at some point? That's the only thing I can
That
think
doesn't
of.
surprise me. I don't know that, but it does not surprise me. So he like started off as like finding Virgin Records. That was like where he started, and then he like went into the airline industry, and then he went into like the telecom business. Like he's just gone all around, and he's like doing the space travel and media and like hotels, healthcare, charitable influence. I'm looking at all his like Wikipedia page, all the different industries he's going into.
Like, he started with selling me. What is Sam Goody? Remember Sam Goody?
Sam Goody, wasn't that an electronics store?
No, it was a CD store. It was literally like the Best Buy. The only cool part of Best Buy was like going in and checking out the music.
Okay,
It
I'm
was like,
taking the win on it because you literally said electronics store, like Best Buy's an electronics store.
well,
So you
it was
literally, I'm taking the win on that.
it was Tower Record, like that concept where you would
Okay,
go
okay,
in
that's
and you
a
would,
record
it was
store.
it was a mall store, and you would go in and just listen to all of like the free tracks that you could listen to.
Oh, you know what I was thinking of? Like Nobody Beats the Wiz. Do you remember that, Jeff?
No, isn't that a
That must be East Coast.
Nintendo thing? Isn't that the?
You're thinking the Wizard.
Oh, okay. You can't fault me for that. What is No One Beats the Wiz?
Nobody Beats the Wiz was like an electronics store back in the 90s, and they even like referenced it on Seinfeld at one point.
Yeah, I don't think we had that on.
Or it's called the Wiz, but Nobody Beats the Wiz.
No one had that in my neck of the woods.
Yeah, it was an East Coast thing.
What is the craziest nickname that you have ever had? Speaking of like the Wiz, I knew someone called the Wiz, and we used to call him the Wiz. Hey Wiz, get your ass over here. What is the craziest nickname that you've ever had?
I didn't really have any crazy nicknames because people just called me Griffin a lot. That was like my nickname.
Well, no one called you anything other than Griffin and
Well,
your first
sometimes
name.
you call me Stiffin because that was a bowling bowling name you came up with one time.
So I am the owner of the only other nickname that was given.
Pretty much. I mean that was the one that got used the most for sure.
I'm sorry. I feel a little bad now. I like Griffin.
I mean, if you knew my name, you wouldn't need a nickname. Like that's already a joke enough as it is.
I like calling you Gryffindor. That's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, but like there's not a lot that ever stuck because people just call me Griffin.
I call you Griff Dog. That's one. T-Bone. I call you T-Bone.
No, you don't.
That's George
You spoke it
Costanza.
into existence like right now, dude. Because
I
that's what
like
you do.
the last one that we came up with a very like. Was it the last episode? No, I think it was the one with Shane. I called you Grippin by accident, and I called you Grippin and Rippin. That's pretty
Oh,
good. That's,
I probably didn't pick up on that because Shane was being his usual agent of chaos, throwing all
yeah,
the plates in
Agent
the
of
air to ruin your
Chaos.
day.
Yeah, you want to? Well, I always. Why is it that it's like these vernaculars? I wanted to say, like, you want to guess. There's no way you would guess this. When I was a kid, people would call me Ross. Why do you think why they would call me Ross?
I think either because you somehow resembled Ross from Friends,
Okay.
or because you painted like Bob Ross.
Oh, those are so much better references than what it really was. When I was younger, when I was a little Ute,
Utes.
what's a Ute? I had very large ears that I grew into, by the way. I don't care. No one messaged me. No one emailed me. I guarantee you this is a sore subject. I don't care if you can tell by the raising of my voice. So I was very short. I'm going to give this as much preface as possible, so that way, hopefully, if anyone that wants to talk to you, this is a sore subject. I don't know
If
why.
anybody wants to see if Jeff is exaggerating the story, please email us at walklikeamailman@gmail.com. We
No,
want to hear
I
from you.
don't email us. When I was younger, I was very short compared to people, and I was very big eared. And so when I hit eighth grade, seventh to eighth grade, we did a project in seventh grade, and we lined up all of the kids from shortest to tallest. Have you ever done this project in school before?
No, I don't recall that.
I don't know. Maybe they were like deciding the order of, when we get out of the class, or like that, as far as an order for like a science experiment. And they wanted to establish like what number you were in the class. And this was seventh grade. They got us from the shortest person to the left to the tallest person to the right in the whole entire class. I was number three. I I look to my to my left or a right, whatever. The only people shorter than me in seventh grade was two girls in that class. So like that shows you like how short I was. And then by eighth grade, I had reached like 5'8". So I had this huge, like massive, legendary level like growth spurt between seventh and eighth grade. Almost to the point where people brought it up and recognized, like they're like, "Holy crap! Like, what happened to you?" Like, I don't. It was like almost overnight to where like how tall I was. The point I'm driving at, and the reason why I was named Ross, is when I was younger, I was so short and I had such big ears. They called me Ross Perot.
You're right,
if
that is
you
the worst reference.
if you know, you know. As far as the kid of the 80s and 90s, Ross Perot was this politician, and he was like this like southern. I don't. They can't say Southern Belle, but this like really southern draw, like guy, and he ran for president, and he was a hardcore like politician, and he would go on and have like these like southern diatribes, and
He was known for his ears, that's for sure.
he
Ears
was
of corn.
known for being very short and having big ears, and kids would bully me, and I leaned in. Like, that's my move. I like leaned in. I'm like, yeah, sure, call me Ross. Like, that was my thing. And the teacher got wind of it, of why, like, the kids called me Ross, and
And they
she thought,
agreed. No, they didn't agree.
she was like, "Oh, that's terrible. That's horrible. Like, why are they calling you Ross, like from Ross Perot?" And I was like, "You know what? There's worse names that they can come up with." And one time I signed my paper, Ross, on the top of it when I turned it in, and she was like, "No, don't do that, bro." Like, she was looking out for me. But that was probably the worst nickname that I had ever received, and I had it for a while too. Like, that was before middle school. But coming up to middle school, I was very short in stature. I had big ears, and a lot of kids in a very cruel fashion called me Ross Perot, or Ross for short. So that was my nickname stories.
I mean, there are worse people out there than Ross Perot. I don't think there's anything
I don't
like
know. Google it.
horrible about that guy. So, hey,
I
that's
heard
cool.
that wasn't it him that he was like a real stickler on seatbelt laws? Like he really wanted seatbelt laws to be a thing.
Oh boy, this is
And I
a
think
deep
he
cut that you're having me look at here. Ross Perot's political agenda here. Okay.
no, you don't have to look it up. But I remember talking to someone later on, but about this same occasion. I think he was one of the first initiators of like seatbelt law, and realized that there was so many deaths that could have been prevented by seatbelts. Email us at walklikeamailman@gmail.com if I'm not factual on that.
Well, I can tell you that seatbelt did not come up in his Wikipedia search, so I don't know.
Whatever.
That's
I
about as
don't,
much research as I'm going to do on Ross Perot
Ross
here.
Perot. Talking about. Did you wake up this morning thinking that Ross Perot would be in your Google search?
No, no, I didn't.
Well, that's what we bring to you at the Pivot.
The pivot.
Rick, come back to the office. You got an hour. But let's head out of here. How about that? Does it sound good?
Yeah, I mean that's all right. I mean we're a little short on the show, so
Well, unless you wanna talk about something else that was very impactful and detrimental to my to my growing mentally and physically.
I mean you seem to always do that to yourself every single week with your incriminating segment, but
I
good that
did
we're not
not.
incriminating you today.
I was incriminating to all of those a-hole children that came after me and called me Ross Perot when I was younger. That's a tell of the time. Yeah, email us and let us know, like, what does Ross Perot mean to you? Like, what was your experience in having him? It was like when
Do you even know who Ross Perot is?
exactly when they came after me with it. I literally had to do like a deep dive. Back in the day, you didn't have the internet, so I had to go around and do like a questionnaire of like, who the hell is this Ross Perot that people keep on calling me? Oh man, okay, we'll do one more.
Yeah, one more. Email us if you could find somebody with bigger ears than Ross Perot.
We did. We were doing a science project, and so I don't know what it was. I think the eclipse was happening, and they wanted us to like do something with the plate and like punch a hole in it or make a hole in the plate.
Oh yeah, because that way you can look at the thing without blinding yourself.
Yeah, or like look at the shadow, and the shadow is going to be different because of the eclipse or something, right? So we're sitting
Yeah,
in the
you don't
classroom.
want to kill your eyes
Yeah, like
staring
like
at the sun,
like another presidential candidate that just looked directly into the sun. Moving on. So we're sitting in class. We're carving these plates. They're paper plates. Oh, this is gonna sting a little bit. Anyway, so we're like going around and we're like having fun doing craft time, getting ready for the eclipse, this monumental event. Of course, like this is gonna be life changing. I'm gonna actually experience the effing eclipse, like in class today. This is cool. And this one kid held two plates up to the side of his head, and he was like, "Look, who am I?" And then everyone looked, of course, like the whole entire class. He's like, "I'm Jeff, aka Ross Perot," and everyone like because of the two ears on the side of the plates, and then everyone just.
I'm surprised people didn't call you Dumbo. That would be what I would go to with big ears.
Yeah, that I would fight against it. I'd be like, "Hey, man, that's a little too far." But then they were obsessed with Ross Perot at this school for whatever reason.
Well, I mean, it was topical around the time, I suppose. If you were like 10, 11 years old, it was still in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, well, I had big ears, so
I had big ears, and I cannot lie.
That's the takeaway from today's episode. So we'll see you over on the main show.
See you guys next week.